In November 2020, we learned that William had contracted a severe case of COVID-19 in April 2020. At the time, veteran royal reporter Robert Jobson tweeted about Kensington Palace's appalling decision to lie about the prince's health, writing, KP were asked several times by the media whether Prince William had contracted the virus and were told categorically no. TMZ's recent publication of the paparazzi photo of Kate and her mother driving in Windsor has added a new dimension to the media-controlled discussion. Kensington Palace has let it be known that the photos were unauthorized and no UK media outlets have run the images. Even the tabloids, although most have written up the fact that US media outlets have published the image of the princess. On Wednesday, veteran royal reporter Emily Andrews said on Twitter that Kensington Palace exerted huge pressure on the British media not to publish the pic, which she said was proof that the press team didn't set up the photo opportunity. Safe to say that the UK media response to the photo's publication isn't doing anything to dispel the "palace controls the media" narrative that's running rampant on social media. Owen, who are the reporters covering the royals? Can you tell me a little bit more about the tabloids? Hall, the media ecosystem surrounding the royal family is unique. The core group of reporters covering the royal family are known as the Royal Rota, and they're given access to royal events with the understanding that they'll share whatever news they get at the event with the other media organizations. The justification for it is space and security. You can't fit a huge press pack into a small room at a charity or food bank a senior royal happens to visit. All Rota reporters are from UK-based outlets, and as I mentioned earlier, these reporters will sometimes get information from Buckingham Palace and Kensington Palace that other journalists don't receive. There are official royal press released email lists, and then there are WhatsApp groups. One of Harry and Meghan's biggest issues with the Royal Rota system was the fact that the group includes tabloids. These are the outlets that have historically run the most sensational and invasive stories about the royals. They also run the most stories. Tabloids constantly churn out royal content on every imaginable topic, no matter how flimsy its apparent source or connection to a member of the royal family. In this case, the lack of speculative tabloid coverage about Kate's status is one of the things that people have found. In this case, the lack of speculative tabloid coverage about Kate's status is one of the things that people have found suspicious about the current situation. The historically nosy news outlets haven't theorized about what specific type of surgery she had or the circumstances that led to her medical issue being discovered. Until the TMZ photo was published, there hadn't been any stories or photographs of the famously close Middleton family. There's also a distinct dearth, that means lack, of the fluffy, low-stakes stories about the princess that you usually see in the tabloids, like what Kate's doing to relax, or how Kate's staying a hands-on mother during her recovery. How does the social media play into all of this? Social media has been the driving force behind this entire saga, and I cannot emphasize enough how out of character it is that a royal press team went on the record in response to what is essentially gossip. A few years ago, I had an interesting exchange with a press officer when another royal conspiracy theory was trending online. On February 22nd, 2022, a celebrity gossip blog called Hollywood Unlocked reported that Queen Elizabeth II had passed away. The post went insanely viral, and by the next day, rumors of the Queen's unaliving were so widespread that the whole situation in and of itself was newsworthy. I reached out for comment to Buckingham Palace, and they refused to give an on-the-record response, telling me on background that they didn't want to establish a precedent of responding to online speculation. It's been really interesting to watch the discussion of Kate's disappearance slowly spread from the toxic hellhole that is so-called royal that is so-called royal internet into mainstream pop culture consciousness on social media, especially on Twitter/X. We've reached a point where people who don't normally follow the royal family are invested in this saga. It's worth noting that a lot of the conversation was initially driven by pro Harry and Meghan accounts, and many of the darker conspiracy theories, the ones described as deeply sinister and highly libelous by the Daily Mail, seem to originate from those online spaces. That being said, these speculations are now part of the global conversation, although they're fortunately balanced by conspiracy theories that are, if not lighthearted, unserious. The BBLs and Glasgow Willy Wonka photoshops, for example. While tons of people on Twitter are clearly only following this saga for drama, gossip, and memes, over the past week you've been able to observe a growing group of individuals who at least give the impression that they're genuinely worried about Kate and want to know that she's okay. That apparent sincerity is rare when it comes to online discussions about the royal family, and I think it's one of the things keeping Kate in the public eye. I definitely agree. Owen, okay, so talk to me about how the coverage or non-coverage of Kate is different from the coverage of Meghan Markle. Hall, I don't think you can talk about what's currently going on with Kate without talking about Meghan's history with the UK media. It's one of the points that keeps coming up in the online discourse, the apparent hypocrisy between the palace and the UK media's treatment of each woman. People are comparing the hands-off, privacy-first stance that the press is taking toward Kate with their attitude toward Meghan and the stories that were written about her while she was on maternity leave. I've seen a lot of posts remarking on how strange it is that the palace and UK media suddenly care about privacy when they didn't before now. There's also a definite feeling among some people that Kate should have to go through this social media and press speculation because Meghan went through it. It was worse for Meghan, and when she complained, people told her to suck it up. Regardless of your feelings about Meghan or Kate, it's a fact that over the past month, the palace has gone on the record 3 times. First to counter an article about the Princess of Wales, and then twice to comment on social media speculation about her well-being. If you'd like to see more examples of times when the royal family press teams did or didn't go on the record for stories about these women, a deep dive looking into that question has been published. Meghan and Harry have both said in interviews that this was something the palace would not do for them. We also know that the palace exerted huge pressure on the British media not to publish a paparazzi photo of Kate, and so far the British press has complied. Owen, in the past, when you were reporting on the royals on a regular basis, what helped you decide whether you should report on something that was a mere social media rumor? Which other sources do you look at? Blogs and things like that? Hall, I had a very unique position at BuzzFeed News because I'd been there for a long time and had great editors who trusted my instincts when it came to royal stories. A pattern was established pretty early in my time at the company where I would say, I need to write this royal thing up, and the resulting story would do really well. I had a royal newsletter for my last 3 years in the newsroom, and that was fun because I was able to do some deeper analysis of royal news and royal media coverage and write for a dedicated audience. I read all the stories written by the Royal Rota reporters and the major royal reporters on the beat at other outlets. I have an almost 11-year-old Twitter list of royal reporters and official royal social media accounts that helps me keep updated. I